Hey guys, welcome back to 𝐸𝐽, the cooking channel that's not so useless. In this video, we'll be frying up some Chinese cow's ear cookies. Now, contrary to the name, this little snack has nothing to do with beef, and is a popular traditional Chinese snack often made during Chinese New Year. These are really crunchy savory treats, although don't expect it to be on the level of a roast pork. And though it's called cow's ear, I can't have been the only one who used to call it pig's ear in my youth. But nonetheless, to make these cow's ear cookies, you'll need vegetable oil, plain flour, water, caster sugar, bicarb soda, fermented red bean curd, and garlic powder. For the quantities, we have two different doughs. For the white dough, you'll just need 150 grams of plain flour and around 75 milliliters of water. And then for the red dough, you'll need 152 grams of plain flour, 65 grams of caster sugar, 2 teaspoons of vegetable oil, 30 grams of fermented red bean curd cubes, and this is without the brining liquid, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of bicarb soda, and around 35 milliliters of water. This is also quite simple to make, and you only need to do two key things: mix and roll up the dough, and fry it. But before we begin, if you do enjoy this video, do consider subscribing, as it does help the channel out. So just to preface, in this video, we'll be using double the recipe amount. Starting off, we'll want to make the white dough, so sift the plain flour. Once sifted, mix and slowly add in the water. When the dough no longer mixes well together, get in there with your hands and knead the dough until it becomes smooth. And for us, this took about 6 minutes. If you want to test that it's fully kneaded, then roll it up into a ball and gently press it down. The indent will slightly spring back up. Then just wrap it up and let it rest for 15 minutes. Moving on to our red dough. In a big bowl, mash the red bean curd into a paste. Once you have your paste, slowly add and mix in the water. Then add in your caster sugar and continue mixing until the sugar melts. Then add in the garlic powder and vegetable oil and mix well. Next, quickly mix your plain flour and bicarb soda together and sift that into the red mixture. Then mix away, the same as you did the white dough. And when it's done, the dough will be smooth and shiny. Next, take it out of the bowl and dust a flat surface with flour. We want to shape the dough into long rolls. And be sure to dust the dough with flour if it's still sticky. Then do the same with your white dough. Once both doughs have been rolled out, portion each dough into a half. Again, we're using twice the amount here. Next, we're going to roll out the spiral cross section. So roll out the white dough. We want to make sure we roll the dough out into a rectangular shape, and the dough needs to be very thin, but not at breaking point. Then do the same with the red dough, and try to make it similar in size to the white dough. Once they're roughly the same size, lightly wet the surface of the white dough before putting the red dough on top. And it's fine if the red dough tears a little. It won't be that noticeable since it's in the inside layer. Then tuck the bottom and roll it tight like a cinnamon roll. When you get to the end, gently pinch the dough shut and roll the dough once more. Then you'll want to place the cow's ear roll onto a tray, but make sure it has some cling wrap on the bottom to prevent it from sticking. Then just repeat with the rest. And at the end, you'll have 2 of these rolls. Again, we're doing double the amount in this video. Then cover them with some paper towels, and let it harden up in the fridge for about an hour, or the freezer for about 15 minutes. So when frying, you want to make sure your oil is at 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Take the cow's ears out of the fridge, and dust your chopping board with some flour. Then gently start cutting the roll, making sure each cut is very thin. And don't worry about ruining the end pieces. The cross sections for those will be bad anyway. Now, if you feel like you're going to take a while to cut these, then we advise to put the remaining cow's ear rolls back into the fridge, just to keep them solid. And after you finish cutting half of your first roll, it's time to fry. But before you fry them, be aware that your cow's ears may turn out differently depending on the following factors. If you take too long to cut your cow's ears, the white dough will end up melting into the red dough and lose its vibrant color. If your oil is slightly below 160 degrees Celsius, then the dough will soak up the oil as it fries, and will essentially melt out of the layers. Or if it's well below 160 degrees, it will just be a soggy mess. If your oil is too hot, or you cook for too long, well, you end up with a burnt mess. Then finally, the holy grail. If your oil is 160 degrees Celsius, and you fry it properly, then you have these aesthetically pleasing cow's ear cookies to munch on. Okay, so back to the frying. Immediately after you finish cutting, fry the ears. Now only touch the ears within the first 30 seconds, if they are stuck together. If you move them too much this early, you'll risk breaking them. After the first 30 seconds are up, gently move them around and let them continue frying for about 50 seconds. Now these timings are our rough estimates, and will vary depending on how thinly you cut your ears. But ultimately, when the ears enter the oil, you want to give them time to harden a little before moving them around so they cook evenly. And once the ears have a nice light brown color, they're ready to take out. Now don't be too concerned if they're really light in color. They'll slowly get darker as they cool down. Then spread them out over paper towel covered trays and let them cool down. Then repeat with the remaining half. And then you'll want to do it all over again with the roll that's still in the fridge. And in the end, you'll end up with roughly this many cow's ears with one recipe's worth of ingredients. Once you've let them fully cool down, you can then steal a little. Then just bottle them up and store them in your cupboard for whenever you feel peckish. So guys, that was my family's recipe for cow's ear cookies. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you ever get the chance to make this at home, be sure to tell us how it goes. And if you want to see any of our future videos, be sure to subscribe. See ya!